What's going on? It's time for another episode of Too Hard for the Radio, transmitting from the future free state of Greater Idaho. I am the one-armed madman. And back with me today, we got Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie, how are we doing, man?
I'm good. Thank
Right
you for
on.
having me.
So I'm hoping people remember from last time that Ronnie used to host a paranormal radio show back in the day. I don't
Mhm.
remember when you said you stopped, but you used to host a paranormal show. So I was kind of thinking, how do we open this up? And I figured I'd ask you, if you were still hosting your show today, and let's say maybe your guest fell through or something, and you had to fill the hour, what would be like the thing on the top of your mind that you would say, this is what I'm coming with, like this is what I feel like is important right now, and this is what people should hear?
What people, if I and the guest fell through, I always had a few in my pocket that I could go to
Yeah.
when that happened and everything and stuff. And
But
um, what's important?
what would you,
Uh,
yeah, like what's on your mind? What do you, when you're looking around at the world and you see the news, I see black magic and good and evil, and there's so much crazy things going on that, I'd like to hear what you kind of are seeing in the world from, the 10,000 foot view or something like that.
I would the changes in people literally. I don't know if it's since I did a paranormal show. I don't know if it's just regular mental health brought on by new technological changes, like on the internet, being on social media, or, because I don't, I, I was talking to a friend the other day and I said, hey, you remember when you're younger, because I'm 62, I said, remember when you're younger, mass shootings just happened at the post office and we called it going postal? Because
Yeah, I remember that, and I'm not that old. I'm not
right,
even
and
40
then
yet.
they were
Yeah.
and they were just trying to kill the supervisor and his wife that he was sleeping with the supervisor or something like that, vice versa. There's only two people they came to kill. But now you see how many people can I take out and die by cop before they get there? And I it's amazing that you could get like, police armor and you're wearing because you want to stay up as long as you can to take as many people out,
Yeah. It's
and there's no
crazy.
exit plan. And I said that I would wonder, is that happening because of evil or mental illness or demonic possession? I don't know.
That's kind of the same thing that I've been thinking lately, believe it or not. Like I've gone down this rabbit hole like a month or so ago. Somebody sent me this video of a guy who was claiming to be a sovereign citizen, and he was getting into it with a cop over. I'm traveling, I'm not driving, and it was just a stupid video that my buddy asked, "Do you think there's anything to this?" And anyways, my YouTube feed started feeding me all these videos of people getting
I've
arrested
seen
and
it.
doing
Yeah.
all these crazy things, and there's something going on, and you can see it in their eyes. Like a lot of times they show the mugshot and it's in the eyes, and you see right away, it's
Mhm.
like, oh, there's something off with that person. And like you said, is it mental illness? Is it evil? Is it demonic possession? Are they all like some sort of Venn diagram that like you are here type of thing? And it's disturbing because it's like you said, it's things that didn't happen when we were younger. When I was younger, things like this didn't happen. Like none of the kids that I went to school with were going to shoot up a school. Like that just
Mhm.
wasn't a thing. And I look at these people and I look in their eyes and I go, something's up. Something's wrong there. Something's missing. Or maybe there's something there that shouldn't be there.
I think it's a little bit more. My grandmother used to tell me, be careful out there because some people are born without fingers and toes, and some people are born without souls. Or are they born with a glitch somewhere? Um, but being kind of a believer, or not kind of, I am a believer in reincarnation.
Mhm.
And it's like I'm not Hindu, I'm not any religion. But at one time I was Christian religion. And and that doesn't fit well with Christians.
It doesn't.
And my thought is, because one time I was with the Catholic Church, one time I was with a Baptist. I grew up in a Baptist church, um, holy sanctified church. Um, and they just say to take your life is a mortal sin. And I said, how can Johnny with a gun come and blow my head off? What gives him the right?
Yeah.
And me not the right? And not that I want to do it, but what gave him the right to do it? And say he's good. Is he going to go straight to hell? He could be possibly forgiven. So I'm going to go straight to hell. So I didn't understand that. But in my weird way, when I started reading and started getting thinking about things, and it made sense to me that possibly I agreed to come down here for some reason. And I agreed, and I didn't say any guy. I do believe, and people say I don't because no religion.
Yeah.
I just call, because no man, woman, creator, the creator. I agreed. And when I read, and a friend of mine said, you treat religion like a smorgasbord. You take out the tasty parts for you. And I
Yeah.
said, that's one of them. Yeah. And I
And
said,
isn't that what intelligent people are supposed to do? Is
yeah,
read a variety of different things and parse out the information that's good
right.
and bad and apply the
That
good
makes sense to
and
me.
discard the bad. That seems like you would, want to do that.
Right. And so I said, maybe, and I said, through history, it looks strange, and this is my theory. I said, people come to do great things, and when their time is up, their time is up. And two examples I can use that's very, very close to that. And some people get to go further than their time, a little bit further.
Yeah.
And I said, one is Martin Luther King. And his last speech, he's like, I'm not going to get to the mountain with you. In his exit time. And how many people have attempted to kill him before that? Literally,
Yeah.
he was in jail the many times he'd been arrested. Why don't we kill him in jail, and stuff, and say he hung himself? The many times, never. That one time after, the civil rights bill had been passed and everything and stuff. And it was time for him to exit
Yeah.
because you can't you can't see somebody like that go into history as and die of old age. Something as great as that, and that don't make any sense. You're not talking. I say, you believe in Jesus Christ? He died 33.
Yeah.
I was like, some people come for special missions and it's done. It's done. I said, Abraham Lincoln is another one.
Yeah.
Done with his mission and everything, and country's back together, his head blown out, and he saw his death too. He had a dream. There, the Secret Service was there, and it was like it was
Yeah.
a funeral. When he said, "Who's in the casket?" It said, "President's dead." But went to Ford's Theater, and you know,
Went
it
anyways.
was his time because that was that was it. You're just gonna go into and you're done. There's not too much more you can do. And you reach your pinnacle and that's it. And some people pass their time. People say, they love Elvis. They say, can it stay past his time?
Yeah.
Because even when they chose the stamp, and some people say no, say, well, you chose young Elvis. You didn't choose old Elvis. You
Yeah.
chose young Elvis, right? And maybe he stayed past his time. And you see it with great people that I am. What's it? Is it the 2023 Club?
Yeah.
Janis
No. Yeah.
Joplin,
27.
Jimi
27.
Hendrix, 27,
27.
Jimi
Yeah.
Hendrix,
Forever
yeah,
27.
yes. It's just like Jim Morrison.
Yep.
It just seems
Janis
like
Joplin,
there was a tribe of them that
Kurt
came in to
Cobain,
change music, and it just I'm out.
Lane Staley. There's
Right.
just a ton of them.
Prince,
And yeah,
you know what?
that makes so much sense what you're saying. Like with a great person like that, somebody who's done something so great with their life, especially early on. Like King did his best work.
Mhm.
He was a younger man, and if he survives after they they climb the mountain, all he's gonna do is let you down
Mhm.
from there because he can't do anything greater than what he already did, and he's just human like everybody else.
Right.
And they're bound to make mistakes. Like I know his personal life probably wasn't the greatest. And
Mhm.
if people start finding out about that, he's not the same great man as he
Right.
was. And that makes a
Mhm.
lot of sense. And what you were talking about with reincarnation, I kind of have the same thing. So when I got electrocuted, I got hit with 14,400 volts, which is they called it a catastrophic unsurvivable injury. Essentially,
Wow.
people don't survive 14.4. It turns squirrels to dust immediately, essentially. And I think I died. Nobody really knows for sure because I was up on a pole while I was out. So it's not like somebody could check my pole. You know what? But
Mhm.
I went somewhere and I don't know where I went. It feels like wherever I was, I could have been there for 5 seconds or 5 million years. There is
Mhm.
no time associated with it. And I've knocked myself out on a dirt bike before, and you kind of have a little bit of the wonkiness, but you still know I was there. It was about for this long, and that's just what happened. I'm back. I'm back awake. And, I've asked different people, where did I go? What did I see? Why does it feel like I was shown something or given some sort of glimpse behind the veil that was then taken from me when I was
Mhm.
brought back? And the answer that I've been given most of the time is like, you did see something, you did go somewhere. And if you would know what you saw, if you could remember what you saw, you'd no longer want to be alive and life would just be pointless and meaningless to you. And that place where you go is the well, essentially. And everybody comes from the well. And you go, you get a couple drops into this body every now and then it goes back and it goes to another one and it goes to another one and
Mhm.
it goes to another one and you just keep on going until I don't know what. Maybe you learn everything there is to learn. Maybe, some greater being is finding enlightenment through splitting itself into multiples throughout a
Mhm.
time frame. Maybe it's, we're some weird fever brain from a Bozeman brain, a Boltzmann brain out in the middle of the universe somewhere that's trying to figure out what it would be like to not exist in that way. There's so many weird things you could go off of just like based on that simple like theory of reincarnation. You've done it
Mhm.
before, you'll do it again.
I had a friend too. He went into a coma, got sick. It was like I was almost hounding him. Where did you go? I said, "What? How does consciousness turn off and then turn back on?" I said, "That makes no sense to me because I believe consciousness is the soul. It just doesn't like, and a body can't exist long without it." I said, people joke around their meat suits. My father had a massive heart attack. He's out. The doctor worked on him for about 20, almost 30 minutes, brought back his body. And then the doctor's like, well, I guess you guys should come down and so we could pull the plug. My sister, she had a problem because she saw the machine, saw him breathing, saw a little fluctuation in his eyes like that. And I was like, she was like, no, I said, he's not in there. I said, just like, look at him good. And I knew whatever made him alive had left and the body was there. It's like looking at furniture.
Yeah.
I said, look at him hard. I said, because I'm amazed he's not in there. I was like, anything that made him him is gone. And I don't know how, but just look at him long and hard.
Yeah.
The machines are breathing for him and everything. So he agreed to turn off the machine. He was gone with an hour. So I was like, and I said, that is the spark, whatever it is, whatever meat suit you decide that you're going to go in and how you're going to, what you're going to experience. The spark is consciousness. And they said, once you take that last breath, you lose weight. And
Yeah.
scientists know
I
this.
I yeah, I've actually heard that.
I
I think
said,
I watched a documentary about that.
right. That is the consciousness leaving you. Anything that made you actually who you are. And when I had my show, I had this person that was a attorney, and she had a near-death experience. And she was like, she talked about it and she explained that, she said she was a staunch Catholic. And then she came back and she said, I couldn't call God God. I could only call God source. It was there. It was all around me. I can't, it's not a person, not a person. But she was like, yeah, I can only call it source. And I said, what does it want? What does source want? And I said, the lives you live. And she said, source wants to learn what it's like to be you, Ron, right now, right here on this planet. I said, oh my God, it's blowing my mind. God wants to learn, wants to know what it's like to be you right now.
Experience. To
Yes,
experience.
right now, all your stuff, all your bad stuff, all your good stuff. And I come up with another concept. I don't really think there's a hell, which is hard to go by. It was hard to deal with that because as a human, you want retribution. you know,
Yeah.
somebody shot somebody in your family. I hope they're in hell burning up. And, it was like, I don't know if I could say this because we're on the radio.
Oh, go for
Or,
it. Whatever you want to say.
okay. My thing was, I said, I hope they're in hell, you know, sucking on a bag of dirty cocks.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, so,
absolutely.
all right. But then
Absolutely.
as I went along, it was one of the hardest concepts to get rid of. It was just like the bad you do, the good you do, there's all. It's all. And I said, you're telling me Hitler's not in hell? And just mean people, that might be part of the experience. And I was like, just like good people have a mission, bad people have a mission. You agree to it and stuff. And then I thought and stuff, read, the worst people call you is Judas. But there was a prophecy to be fulfilled according to the Bible, you know, that I have to be uh, betrayed by someone I know and then given up. So, Jesus knew that. Is it Yeshua ben Yosef knew that. He was like, I know it has to happen. It's a prophecy. But who was there before they decided to come down and say, somebody's going to have to turn me in? And the book of Judas said Judas was pretty much a good friend of Jesus, one of his staunch followers, but he wanted more of a revolution. He didn't want the quiet thing. And things started to fall apart in one of the apocryphers and stuff. So did he agree it'll be me? Well, from now on, every time somebody said turn on you, Judas, you're gonna go in history. Well, it's got to be done. It's a prophecy. That's my agreement. I'll do that. In that body, I'll do that. So for it to come to pass, somebody had to do it, and it was just so okay. He took the bait on it and did it. So um, then I looked up and I said, hell was a concept probably made by modern day evangelists
Hmm.
because the only reference to hell I could find in Bibles was Gehenna, and uh, that was a city outside of Jerusalem where they burnt the trash. Like that was the lake of fire. That was the lake of fire because they had this trash. No trash man coming. All the trash they had to be burned out there, and it's kind of a river of fire when you burned it. So we had incinerator growing up. They're not allowed anymore. You burned your trash, and that's one of the things that was the reference to hell. And I'm just like, okay, and we'd like it to be Dante's Inferno, but it's like that was a reference, pretty
Yeah.
much the reference.
I've actually heard about something like that. Isn't like Dante's Inferno kind of the yeah, so hell was different until that painting and then it kind like the version of
Yeah.
hell
Hmm.
transformed into Dante's Inferno instead of and yeah, man, like hell is a very useful tool, right? Especially for like children, scaring
Oh yeah.
children, you know, or
Yeah.
scaring adults even. It's such a useful tool for control, right? And like
Exactly.
that's where I have a problem with these different religions is the control aspect. We're going to use fear as a control mechanism, which is
Mhm.
evil. Like anybody who's willing to use fear as a control mechanism, our current governing structure is all fear
Definitely.
based. Vote for this guy and you're going to lose democracy. Vote for this
Mhm.
guy and they're going to take your guns away. And
Mhm.
meanwhile, financially, they do everything exactly the same. The
Right.
wars are all the same. They just get you on these issues to scare you into
Mhm.
support. And it's very
Right.
useful, very easy, very effective.
And it almost gives us, now we're getting it, it gives us the illusion that we're in control. But we know that 1% of the world's wealth, literally, is control. I mean, 100, maybe 99% of the world's wealth is controlled by 1% of these families.
Less. It's like 0.001%.
Yeah.
And yeah, a
Yes.
couple of them are just, and it's like a handful of Russian oligarchs, some
Mhm.
shadowy, families that have been around and have been inbreeding for the past 300 or 400 years, and royalty. And yeah, man, these people are pulling the strings. Like when you watch the mainstream media and you see these crazy people with like Joe Scarborough is one of my favorites because he's got the eyes like these empty eyes, like somebody else is behind him, and they don't know what's going on. Like the
Mhm.
entire freaking country has been living in the emperor's new clothes for the past 4 years. Anybody with eyes can see that Biden was senile. We all knew he was senile. The mainstream media knew he was senile, but they had their orders that he's running and he has to win. So just keep up the appearances. Look at that beautiful robe he's wearing. And then all of a sudden, all it took was one night, one comment, 1 hour, and everybody all of a sudden sees it and flips on a dime and are all on the exact same narrative again. And it's like, A, that doesn't happen by accident. So they're getting orders from somewhere. But B, there should be at least a little bit of critical thinking behind some of these people that can look at this and go, hey, wait a minute, are we being taken for a ride right now? But then
The
again,
other one is
they don't
78,
care.
but we're not looking at him as old because he's mean.
Yeah.
If you could be mean and talk about anybody any way you want and talk about them like dogs, it's like, okay, I don't look old. But I've seen mean old men and they're old, they're just senile and old, you know. It's just like, okay. I think my grandmother on my mother's side was like 104. She's mean as a snake. She's mean as a snake.
Yeah.
Like I was like, it's like they appeared she didn't have dementia, but she had like people coming in to help her. She ran them off and stuff. She's mean as a snake. I said the only reason she doesn't look incompetent because she's mean as hell.
Yeah.
We look at mean people are okay.
Yeah, yeah. My grandmother's going through it right now. Like we're having horrible times finding people that are, I threw her out yesterday. It's like you can't throw
Right.
her out. She's there for your brain. Like come on, you don't even know who you are half the time. Like you can't just be throwing these people out.
Yeah, I told her she was there, one time just, when she made a comment, Ron, you're fat. And I was like, how's that deal you made with the devil for a lot of life?
Yeah,
All
no
your friends are
shit.
dead. You're pissed off. All your friends are dead and stuff. Nobody knows your music. Your body's aching and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's really only the good die young.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Hey, man. And I totally believe in fate. Like I if you're looking at me, the reason I got this is because I did some very bad things in my life. Is essentially what happened, and I had to be taught a lesson for it in some way or another. And it's tough to like look at your life and get hurt in the way that I did after like I was a drug addict and I was a criminal and I was a drug dealer and I turned my life around and then I lost my hand. And it's like you sit there and you go, but I did everything right. I did bad things, yes, but I turned it around and I was doing the right things. And then after you sit around and you look at it for a while and you go, well, no, maybe I should have done that. Definitely should have done that. I didn't even address this at the time. So after some time at looking at it, it's like, you know what? Like I did a lot of shit that I shouldn't have done, and I'm paying the price for it now. And you know, I know that I was given another chance to live for some reason. I haven't found that reason yet. You know, I'm trying to keep my eyes open the best I can and hope that, you know, the opportunity when it's presented to me that I'm, you know, clear enough and level-headed enough to notice it when it's there in front of me. But, you know, it's tough to like really look at these things. You know, I remember I was telling my mother a while back, like, you know, I did this thing at one point, like I stole some shit from some people, and you know, it's something I'm very ashamed of. And I said, you know, and I'm going to have to pay for that in some way. And she goes, you know, and I kind of told her it was some jewelry and this and that. And she goes, well, how much did you get from it? I go, well, that's, you know, that's not
Mhm.
the point at all. Like, it doesn't matter what I got from it. It was expensive jewelry that meant something to somebody that I took from them. And you can't really put a price on that. Like, I have to somehow try and I'll know, you know, when that price is right. But you know, it's tough to really look at your life a lot of times and look at the bad as well as the good, you know, because I think a lot of people in this world think that they are good people and really believe that they are good people, but a lot of good people do a lot of bad things that, you know, don't get addressed a lot of the time.
And I'm laughing because it's so strange you should say that. I had a guest one time. I think her name was Barbara Lane. And it's like it was something like 12 things that tell you about that tell you about your past life, what your past life was like. And she said, if you joke about certain things in your past life, you know, if you believe in and joke about it, what you were before,
Mhm.
she said, then that's your consciousness telling you a clue what you were. And I would always joke and I said, in my past life, I was a king. And but I was a shitty king. I was like, and there was a coup d'etat, and I end up in this life, growing up in the projects, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, on food stamps, really, and stuff. And so I have to atone for that past life. I became a social worker, and I was a social worker for 35 years. My first 7 years, I worked in the housing project as a social worker as a housing project that I grew up in. And
Oh shit.
so it was like,
Wow.
and every time
That's humbling.
I I got a chance to move up, I got a chance to move up the ladder. Oh, you want to be a director, assistant director? I was always a foot soldier. I was like, I didn't like it. I didn't, it always had to be, and my ex-wife say you always work in the grimiest places like neighborhood houses and stuff like that. And then I went on, I had a side job, is divorce and stuff. And the weekends I was working. I worked with in that area where I was, there were drug dealers, teens, they're making more money than me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So they're on what's called the 440 program. They had to come to my groups and everything. And I'm trying to show them a better way. They got more money than me, but I'm trying to show them a better way.
Yeah.
Then on weekends and holidays, I moonlighted with Cuyahoga County and with their as a contingent with their child protective services. So it's kicking indoors because there's like males, you know, we don't sell it, somebody else gonna sell it to them. You know,
Yeah.
that was a thought. And
That's always the cop
some of
out,
them
you know.
changed. Some of them need
I'm
to,
providing them a service. Like I did the whole. I was a drug dealer, so I know the
yeah.
whole. You know the whole gaslighting routine. Yeah, it's
Getting in the
sad.
police, and I said, you don't see the victims. I do. As you get police to kick down the doors in the middle of the night. The oldest person there is four, taking care of a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. And then it's like, you know, then I got to take them in the middle of the night, have them triage and everything. And the police, where's your parents? Where's your parents? Somebody made a call. or they're in by herself and they've been eating condiments for 2 days,
Oh God.
ketchup and mustard and stuff, messy diapers, take them to get triage and everything, then take them back to the office. I got to place them. And the 4-year-old said, don't separate us. It's my job to take care of them. And I said, sweetheart, somebody needs to be taking care of you. You're 4, and
Yeah.
I would have that. You'll see them because the place is not going to take 3 people. And I said, you don't see the victims and stuff. But every time I got a chance to move up, I might be in it for a year, and I say, I gotta be out there. I worked, and the jobs I got, part-time jobs. Really, I worked in a, a pre-release center. I worked in drug place for addicts, recovering addicts and stuff because I had a license, so I had to sign off. I'm not in recovery, but I got to take them to the Saturday Night Live meetings.
Mhm.
And the Saturday Night Live meetings were the big day. It was filled in there. People came from outside, and it was
Yeah.
just like,
I've been to
and
the
I take
same
them
type of
off.
meetings in San Francisco. They're
Yes.
big
And I
social
love hearing the
gatherings.
lead meetings. I love hearing the lead meetings
Yeah.
because I love hearing how people came back
Yeah.
and stuff. And it was just fantastic with them because the other guys are like, oh, I got my own meetings. I don't want to take them. And so you had to have somebody go out on the floor, send them back in the unit or the bathroom so they wouldn't cop drugs in the bathroom where everybody
Oh
came
yeah.
in, watch everybody. So it's just like, I didn't like the big book, but I love the lead meetings and stuff and hearing stories of people coming back and worked in a homeless shelter, homeless vets. It was just like, because I always needed an extra job because social work didn't pay that much.
Yeah.
And I was like, and it's like, why did you, if they offer it to you, why don't you take it? I said, I don't feel good with it.
Yeah.
And she told me, that was your mission. You're supposed to learn this time.
Yeah.
You were going to learn. You were going to work with the least your release. And I said, do you believe? I said, I just joke and say, I was a shitty king and, it's coup d'etat, end up in this body. And it was
Uh,
like, she said, but think about why you never moved up. You always saw yourself a foot soldier and you worked a pre-release center. And 23 of the last ones were adult protective services. Investigate allegations of abuse of older Americans, rip off, taking their houses, people beating them, taking their money. And it's just I was in and out of court with them and stuff, and it's just till I couldn't see it anymore.
it's a tough
But
job, you know.
I
Yeah.
think with all of them, I looked up, and I think really that probably was I had to learn this time. I had to learn. I said, so next time do I go back and be a king?
Yeah.
I said,
All right.
I
How does
probably
that
better
work?
was.
Do you go to be a
Better
dog next time? Like I don't know how it works, right? It's
right.
interesting stuff, man.
I
Uh
think you just keep coming back as people, but I was like,
yeah,
I think,
that's hey,
yeah,
for all I know, I don't know. And I'm happy to not know. Like for me,
right.
like I'm not one of these people who feel like I need to find the answers to any of these things. Like I'm happy to think about them and, let them affect my life in some way or another without really needing to know the truth to it or not. Like for me, I know something happened when I was out. Do I need to know exactly what it was? Not really, because I have a feeling that I'll figure it out again someday. That I don't think it was just my brain, firing weird signals, doing weird things like the typical, the doctor will tell you, oh, the human brain's a crazy thing. It protects you in circumstances like that. It'll turn off. It'll do, it does all these weird things and they can just hand wave it off immediately. And these are the same hospitals, like at the Mayo Clinic where I had my amputation done. They told me about a study that they did where they were having a bunch of people saying that they were having out of body experiences during surgeries. And
Mhm.
they were like, these people are full of shit. We're gonna bust them. So they put some shelving up on the top of the operating rooms, and they stacked weird stuff up there. Can of Spam, here's a Slinky, here's a
Mhm.
a tick, whatever, just weird random stuff, and you couldn't see it from the operating room looking up. And sure as shit, man, people would go in and tell them they had all these experiences, and they go, "Oh, really? What's all the weird stuff doing up on the wall?" Then they're like, "Oh, you mean the Slinky? That's weird." And they're like, "Whoa," So it's even like with me, called my parents, called my family, said catastrophic unsurvivable injury. He's gone. He's a goner. And here I am. They can't explain a lot of this stuff, but they sure do try. And on that, I was going to ask you about this, but let's just kind of pivot here for a second if you don't mind. The last time you were on, we were discussing the UFO hearings. And to me, it seems like there is zero appetite for another one of those. What do you think?
Yeah, they know, NASA and everybody knows a lot more than they're leading on. And like I said before, my whole thing was like, why we won't tell people, why will we not tell people that we've already made contact with alien beings? Why won't we tell people that we've made contact? And it's everything is in power. Just like we were talking about those families that are controlling all the wealth. The Federal Reserve is the biggest example of that.
Mm-hmm.
They say just like it's a deficit, where you borrow from, I guess, these families in the Federal Reserve. But the thing is, they said, well, it's like, oh, well, we need to borrow more money. Go ahead and print it.
And
So
then
it's
borrow and then
backed by,
loan it after you print it.
yeah,
And
it's
then
backed
and
by,
then
well,
yeah,
you tell
split
us
it
to
up
print out
again
more
and
money.
yeah, they just
That's like I asked you. I said, loan me $5. Well, Ron, cut out some paper and put $5 on it, and you owe me $5. I was like,
and
and
then I'll
then
take that $5 and make 15 more out of it and loan it out to them too.
right. So I'm saying, but you're in it for these families because they tell you how much money to print, and you owe them, and you've been owing them money since America won the Revolutionary War. It takes money to run a country.
Yeah.
So you borrowed the money, you say it was there, but you printed money and saying that's it and that's the deficit. And from what I had, I guess it said the reason that Kennedy had the back of his head blown off because he was saying, I don't think we should deal with the Federal Reserve
Yeah.
anymore. We should deal with them and stuff.
And how about
Back in
that
his head.
CIA? They're not too great either.
So, yeah, so they said that Lincoln was saying the same thing. We got to get from under them. He end up dead. So
Yeah.
it's like that's one of the things that just like you owe that family and they're the ones in power.
Listen to
And just
this.
like I said before,
I've got this tweet here that I'll read real quick and then I'll get you back on it. So here, this is interesting. Interest payments on U.S. national debt will shatter $1.140 trillion this year, eating 76% of all income taxes collected. So 76% of our income taxes are going straight to bankers. Straight to bankers. Before they even do anything else, we're paying off the bankers.
but even there's a weirder thing is if you look at the history of Haiti, they say Haiti had freed themselves from the French. There's slavery and the Haitians under Toussaint fought, whooped their asses, send them going back out the country. They come over with gunboats, and they said, "This is how it's gonna go." Well, we lost property, which is you. This is why Haiti is broke
Yeah.
to this day. The French come back over gunboats, and they said, "We're gonna get out the country, but you owe us for the property we lost." And you mean that was
Yeah.
us?
Oh,
Yes.
God,
And
that's
they said, but
gross.
you're going to pay it. And an international court said you have to pay us. So they have steadily been in hock with France ever since. That's because they can't get a leg up.
Holy shit. I
And the
didn't know
debt keeps
that.
going up and up.
That's
And I said, well, normally, if you win, you don't owe anybody shit.
yeah.
You whoop somebody's ass.
Yeah.
That's like beating up somebody and say, you knocked out two of my teeth while we were fighting. I was trying to take you down, and I got two of my teeth, and I get paid for my dental. And you started the fight. So like, you have no right to protect yourself. But international courts, for you to be a country, you got to pay France back. And they've been in debt with France ever since. They can't get a leg up. And I said, did that happen here? Because that's who supposedly we keep borrowing money from,
Yeah.
you know, because they finance you to come here and stuff, whoop their ass and stuff. You get your ass whooped where I am, you got your ass whooped. I don't owe you nothing.
Yeah. It's
Maybe
over.
apology for beating you a little too bad, but I don't owe you money.
Yeah.
But it's the weirdest thing. It's like you, and this is how much property we lost. This is your bill.
Ugh, so sick, so
Uh,
corrupt. But of course they'll tell you, but you can't put a price on a human life, right? Oh,
right.
but we do it all the
You did.
time, all the
You
time,
did.
all the
You
time.
did.
Oh, that's so gross. I didn't know that. I have to look into that some
You
now because
did.
that's
Look at
just.
it. That's come
And
there and
I
hot.
guess the Clinton Foundation stealing $1 billion for them after that hurricane was just insult to injury. You know,
Mhm.
like, hey, we'll just come and grab a couple more billion out of you while you're at your complete worst. You know.
What's amazing me even now, and this whole thing is what people will do for power.
Oh yeah.
People at once will run against you, and you just back and forth and call names, and they do things and stuff, and they say you complete dirt and stuff. Now there might be a crumb for you, and all of a sudden, then, and I said, where are the real men? Where are the there's a senator. His wife was called ugly. It said that his his wife was called ugly,
Yeah.
and his father killed JFK
Yeah.
by a person who's running.
Yeah.
And now he's at the table for scraps. When do you become a man and you say, you talked about me like a dog, you go after, I need to be at the table to get a scrap. Just a scrap,
Yeah.
you know, just a scrap. Just throw me a little piece of meat on the floor. I'll get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, this power is, and I said, it will make men weak. Women too. And I was like, it just what is going on? What is do we don't know? There's so much that you just will give up everything.
Yeah.
And
And
one
there's
person I'm not gonna say, I said, there's like, what do you think of that person? I said, and I said, oh yeah, well, it looked like some of them are giving a certain person fellatio for scraps.
yeah, no shit, right?
Right.
There's
It's
a
like
there's a
I know
major
you talk
power.
about me, we're gonna fight. We're
Yeah.
gonna talk and we're gonna
Yeah.
fight.
Oh yeah.
Then you need to be an apology. There need to be an apology somewhere,
There's no morals in Washington D.C.
Right.
There's just no backbones, no freaking
It's not.
spines, any of them. It's so gross because yeah, like I've been. I'm trying to think of an
It literally
example.
deals with the devil.
Yeah, for sure. Like
Literally.
I've been fired by a job before for,
Mm,
a reason that I don't think is just. I wouldn't
mm.
even go and eat in that restaurant again, let alone go and like stand next to my GM and tell the staff how great he is.
Right.
Like I just as a man, no, he fired me for a bullshit reason that I don't agree with. And I'm
Right.
done. Like I've washed my hands with this place. I don't need you. I can find another job. I'm good at what I do. And yeah, to go crawling back. These things never happen in a free market because it doesn't really get you anywhere in the free market. Groveling and kissing ass, it can only
Right.
get you so high up the ladder in a corporate atmosphere because the guys at the top don't want you next to them. They want you underneath them. The guys at the
Mhm.
top are killers. They're out there, kill or be killed. We're here to make money, kick ass, and take names. And we need you, you kiss
Mhm.
asses. You're useful and we can get you to do the menial tasks, but you don't belong on the same table as we do. And that's
Right.
like how it works in capitalism, period. Whether you like it or not, that is not how it works in Washington, D.C. And we're going to see some wild stuff in the next couple weeks because there is a massive power shakeup going on. Like I
Right.
read that Kamala Harris is going to like protest Bibi Netanyahu tonight or something like that. And to me, like I'm not interested in that. I'm anti-war. That's all I care about really in that circumstance. All when I see that, I go, "Oh, she just got some power and she wants to go and stick her dick in someone's mouth on national television to show it off for the night." Makes perfect sense in Washington D.C. essentially. And, that's what we're going to
I
see.
do think is it I do think it's remarkable, but I think there's a lot more going on. I just look at the whole thing as things are being done that we can't do. We
Black
can't do.
magic.
Things are being done that we can't do. Things are being, if we said it at our jobs, we'd be out. If we said some of the things that wouldn't be forgiven, wouldn't be forgotten, we'd be out. We'd be out, literally, and you had, it's like literally, there are things that we cannot say and cannot do. Things, just one day somebody sent me something a while back, a long while back, maybe about 10 years ago. And they sent me an email and said, look at this and figure out this is and stuff. And they said, this organization, these group of people here, and I said, this group of people have domestic violence charges, bank fraud charges, this and stuff. And they said, a long list of stuff. And I was like, which group do you think it is? And I said, that's got to be the NFL. Wrong. Oh, there's got to be the NBA players. Wrong. I said, hockey players aren't getting this much stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out teams and say, it was the United States Congress,
Oh yeah.
the list of things they did and still had their jobs. I was like, are you kidding? Bounce checks, domestic violence, DUIs. We lose our jobs for
Sexual
stuff like
stuff, lots of sexual stuff, lots of payoffs
yes.
in Washington. I think I read something a while back. It was like they went through all the people that were like talking shit about Trump's sexual stuff, and they were like, this guy paid 5 million, this guy paid 8 million, this woman paid 12 million, and they just keep going and going and going. It's like, man, these people are just so sick and twisted. It's
And
hard to
Epstein
even
committed
believe.
suicide.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just
Epstein
the stuff
committed
we know about that
suicide.
they got caught on because they got caught.
And I bet somebody, I say he's gonna end up dead. I bet him $5 he's gonna end up dead. I'll take that bet.
Yeah, anytime,
I,
man.
you know, I was like, it's too many names, too many people,
Yeah.
too many names. It's like, how was he not on a death watch? Was it, did he hang himself 3 times? Possibly
Yeah.
one of those.
Hung
He said,
himself and then walked over. There was, gosh, I don't
right,
remember which one. I think it's like Ben Rich or something like that. Who they said
committed
he shot
suicide. He
himself with the
shot himself
shotgun,
4
and the shotgun was like 40 yards away or something like that. Yeah,
So yes,
it's
I
weird,
said I
right?
knew he was going. I said I knew he was going. It was like the Hollywood Madam said that book disappeared. Book disappeared. It's like disappeared, and she had to get quiet because she was going to disappear too. So it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's a little helper. She's got very quiet. I'm surprised she's still alive.
Shit.
But
Hey, here's
she
another
probably
person that's flirting with a bullet right now. Elon Musk. That dude's flirting with a bullet here. What's your read on that guy?
I don't know too much about him though. I don't know. It's just it
Do you
doesn't
think
look
he's
like
read in
the
on the
cars are
aliens?
going to be going because they didn't put up all these charging stations like they should have. And they're very expensive
Yeah.
cars. So they didn't put up all these charging stations and it was just like, they're few and far between. It's not the car to take a big road trip on. So
Do you think he's read in on aliens?
I think when he has to be quiet, and I think he's already one of those people that is working with NASA had to be quiet because he's doing the rocket things, right?
Yeah. You would think if he's
Yeah,
up there with satellites and shit that he's going to see something.
he is, but I think they won't let him see anything. Like we're now, what is the oh God, what is it called? They know it's there going and
The
stuff. I
Black
got
Knight satellite.
Black Knight satellite. They know it's been there for the longest. They know it's not an asteroid. They know it's kind of circling around. It's monitoring
It's
and
in a
stuff.
weird orbit too.
Right. And it's like, okay, you just landed a satellite on a moving asteroid. Why not go visit the Black Knight satellite? They're not going to because they already know what it is. They already know what it is. And you're told all the time and stuff, well, if it's not that, go visit and improve. Just like when they had their rover on Mars. They said, if it's not a pyramid, just land, just do it for all of us. Do it for all of us.
Yeah.
And there's that NASA photoshops a lot of pictures. And they said, we do that because of the color of Mars.
Yeah, they made it red for so long and now it's blue like it should be. I
We
saw that.
we do that. We do that because of the color of Mars and stuff.
They want it to
Yeah.
look red. They
And
wanted
some and
it's
all right.
propaganda. Exactly.
Right. And they said, what is that thing that looks like an ancient pyramid there? It's not, it's just a landmass. Okay, people keep asking, let's just go there, drive the rover there, and show everybody it's just like a mountain mass. No, we're not going to. It's like, we're not going to, and all this stuff. And, stuff goes off at opportune times too. Stuff goes off at opportune times.
Yeah.
There is
They're
more
so
trouble.
shady with pictures. Like I've
There,
seen how they like crop clouds in on like the pictures of the earth where you'll be like, here's a group of clouds and here's 8 more of the exact same group of clouds like circled randomly. And it's like, why do you need to do that? Like I don't understand. Are they covering things up? You would think they would be able, it'd be easier to erase something than
they
throw a
admit.
cloud over it, but maybe it's easier to throw a cloud over it. I don't know, you know?
They admit that they do that, and then it's like, okay, you went to the moon essentially in a 76 Nova,
Yeah,
and and
yeah.
and, and this thing here had more computer tech in it. Then you decided you weren't ever going back for some strange reason.
And you destroyed all the tech.
You weren't going back and everything. For what reason? I think you were told not to go back. There's like, you need to get yourself home. Somebody told him, need to get yourself home and be quiet. Don't come on this side of the moon, you know, and get back. Somebody said Death Star, you know, that exactly didn't come from him. It's thought that the moon, when Obama was in office and they decided they'd shoot a rocket to the moon and just hit a rocket on the moon, it rained for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It said it's been bombarded by asteroids, but the craters are not deep.
They're
They think it's
uniform.
steel under it. They think it's steel under it. Yeah. So those craters, you could ride in them. They're not deep for some reason.
No.
We know we have craters on this planet. The Grand Canyon is one. So it's like not like this at all. So they think it was truly a Death Star. It was put there by somebody. They said moons are not shaped that perfect.
Yeah.
Other moons are not like that, just as over and round. 28-day cycle. Gee, a woman's cycle is 28 days. So it's like,
Yeah.
so it's like, and why is it there? Why is it so perfect there? And then we had that eclipse, and they was like, don't worry. How is the sun is much bigger than the moon? It's 400 times bigger than the moon,
Just in the
but
exact right spot.
right, the exact right spot, and it was 400. I had in my notes
Yeah.
400 and something
400,000.
miles away.
Yeah.
And
It's
I said, they kept
400,000, I
saying
think.
that. Yes, I said they kept saying that. I said, how did they get that
Yeah.
perfect? Perfect alignment like that.
I've thought a lot about this. I'm a sci-fi writer, and I've thought if it's a machine, what is it for? What does it do? And who built it for what purpose, essentially? And what I have kind of come like, if it's a machine, I would think that it was put here to essentially garden the planet. We're gonna make this planet at the right. Maybe they found a planet in the right position and they were able to terraform it a bit. Maybe they didn't have to. Maybe they built the whole freaking system for all we know. But my thought is, so one of my favorite Fermi paradox solutions is comes from a guy named Isaac Arthur on YouTube, and he does what's called the Dyson dilemma. And his thought is that any type 1 civilization and up is going to build a Dyson sphere around their star at some point, or a Dyson swarm, just to gather energy. That's essentially where we would go with it if we had the time and space and energy and all that crap to do it. And we don't see any of those things anywhere. So maybe we've got NASA government agencies that are scrubbing data, so we can't see them out there. Maybe they're just not showing us the ones that are out there. Like, there's a couple different things. But if they aren't out there and aliens are out there and they are here, then that means they're traveling at the speed of light or faster. And my thought is they're getting here through the moon. That's a wormhole. That moon is got a wormhole in it, or it produces one out of it, and maybe that you fly in through a crater and you out a wormhole, and then you go to another system, one of the other systems that they've built throughout time.
Perfect airport because you got the dark side because
Yep.
it never moves.
We'll never see it.
So if I want to visit Earth, and we quoted to Zachariah Stitchin in the 12th Planet, they did come to visit Earth, and we got an upgrade because we don't know how. It said we jumped from Neanderthal to Homo erectus, and they just said, "What happened to Neanderthal? Supposed to be stronger than us and stuff, had tools, more fierce fighter. We got a genetic upgrade, and it was like they went extinct. It wouldn't be the first animal that we have not continued to
Yeah.
make animals extinct
Yeah.
then and stuff. We've killed off animals and made them extinct. That was one. They were competing with us for food and women. They had to go. We're smarter because the aliens came. They wanted gold, and it was like Neanderthals a little too strong and stuff like that.
Yeah. Not
They
easy to
said,
control.
yeah. Well, it's easier to give a genetic upgrade to Homo erectus. We'll work with them.
More docile
So,
animal.
yeah, because we're not going to dig that. And so it did and gave us that upgrade. All of a sudden, because I said, we are top of the food chain. We shouldn't be.
And everything useful
Good.
from the Neanderthals, we took ourselves and incorporated into our DNA, which is why it's still in there. I've read that like Neanderthals essentially like captured and raped women, human
Right.
women.
They
And
like that.
yeah. And so if a male human impregnated a female Neanderthal, you wouldn't get anything. Like they just don't work out. Or you would get a male, or I don't remember exactly how it is. But if you do a female human and a male Neanderthal, you get a very good crossbred female. The males can't reproduce. They're like a mule. But the females, that's where all of our good DNA from the Neanderthals came from, was from those females who ended up getting released, or, I think the bow is probably why they're all gone, is we probably figured out the bow and arrow. Did we figure it out? Did somebody show it to us? Who really knows? But cooperation in the bow is probably what did it.
Book of Enoch says the apocrypher that they check out of the Bible said the watchers were supposed to come down and teach men certain things, but they like their women.
Yeah.
So they end up sleeping with men, women. They did teach them about metallurgy, weapons, stuff that they should not have taken, teach men about. So, but we went from there. But that was, I think that's all in all, and the genetic upgrade,
Yeah.
literally, and stuff. We can literally control our environment now. We air condition, we can heat, no more caves, and we just had a genetic upgrade.
Yeah.
Went from there, and we knew exactly they were going to be gone. They were stronger than us, and they said that they found that some of the Neanderthals ate us too.
Yeah. They
Yes,
ate the men and impregnated the
Right.
women. I left that part
Right.
out.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Have you ever read Larry Niven at all?
No.
So my favorite book is called Protector by Larry Niven, and he has just an amazing theory on humanity that comes out of this book, where essentially the protectors are these aliens that come from a star near the center of the galaxy, and they are they go through 3 stages of development. They go through child, breeder, and protector. A breeder is a male or female Homo erectus. That's all it is. It can think a little bit. It can stay alive. It can keep its young alive, but it can't really do all that much. But once they get to a certain age, they start to have a smell for this root that grows on the planet, and they eat it, and it transforms their body and makes them into a super soldier, smarter than a supercomputer, and they end up coming to Earth. And the way that he does it is that food that they take to change them into protectors doesn't grow on Earth, so they don't get that tree of life root, what they call it. And so we're forced to evolve from Homo erectus into Homo sapiens. And if you end up giving a male human, like a normal male or female human, that root now, then they change into this incredible fighting machine, smarter than everybody. It's a really interesting read, and he has so many great, like, the reason that you have arthritis is because your bones are supposed to expand when you get to, and he just goes through the whole thing. So anybody who's interested in this stuff, go read that book. It's incredible. Ronnie, you got any parting words for us before we get out of here?
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate the talk. It's good to all people don't take that pretty well. So
Yeah, it's always fun to bounce ideas around and
yeah,
get to
I was like,
talking, right?
they don't take that too much. You can't talk to people. Staunch Christians, you can't talk about that
Yeah,
stuff.
it's rough.
None
My
of that
grandparents
stuff.
don't like that conversation too much.
I used to ask that. I used to ask my grandmother, God loves you. He loves you more than anything, but if you do wrong, you're burned forever in the lake of fire. I'm a little confused.
Yep.
I'm
Hey,
a
well,
little confused.
my grandparents used to be the same way, and now they're on CBD. So we've made progress, at least. All right. Thanks again, Ronnie. Good night, everybody.
Okay.